Welcome to Easy Company Collectibles, and today we're doing my thoughts of Avengers Endgame. Now, Endgame came out a couple months ago, probably around 2 months, and I'm probably the last person on the earth to watch this movie. Yes, I'm holding my microphone like it's a cigar, but it's none of your business. I'll smoke what I want to smoke. And I'm holding my phone for some notes, if you guys are wondering. The movie, it was good. It was good, but unlike Infinity War, it's two separate movies. To begin with, let's start off with this. Infinity War and Endgame are two separate movies, and people are comparing it like crazy. People are comparing it with Infinity War, obviously, because it's a sister. That's who they're going to compare it with, right? But Endgame was a emotional, striking, heart-killing thriller. You don't know who's going to die. It's suspenseful. Who's going to take the risk? And we all kind of knew Tony Stark was going to find his end in this movie. But Endgame was very emotional, whereas Infinity War was get up and go and let's whoop some ass. Now, Endgame, Infinity War to me was a way better movie, in that being because of the action, of course. It was more fun to watch. Yeah, we lost a lot of characters such as Spider-Man, Bucky, Doctor Strange, Quill, and stuff like that. But it wasn't as sad as when we lost people like Black Widow and Tony Stark. Once I'll get into their stuff in a little bit, but Endgame people like a lot because of the emotions, mostly because of the emotions that people are getting played with, and it makes you more sad and it makes you feel a lot for the characters that's going through it in that scene. Let's see in here, and Infinity War was a lot more plot driven. And to me, Infinity War had a more of a direction, whereas Endgame was playing cat and mouse. And what do I mean by playing cat and mouse is basically they're chasing something the whole entire movie. They chased Thanos from the start, and then they chased Infinity Stones right through the entire middle of the movie. And then at the end of the movie, they were chasing his ass again with the stones because he was trying to get him. And Endgame was it's just a lot of that cat and mouse feel I had through it. That's what I got from it. And we all knew, to me, Endgame was inevitably gonna be good, because with a star-studded cast, freaking Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, Scarlett Johansson, you got the Thor Hemsworth, all these kind of characters, it's just definitely going to do good. It's not like Star Wars with some unknowns and they kind of screw up the movie like Rose, but it's inevitably good. It has a star-studded cast, and what some things that like I didn't like about Endgame is that I think they should have cleaned up towards the end. Characters like Thor, characters they should have like cleaned him up a little bit. Like when he was staring at Thanos and he was like, let's go get the son of a bitch. I thought he was going to snap his fat off. He's going to become this clean-cut superhero, and he's going to be looking good and sexy, and he's going to go fight the son of a bitch. That was what I was expecting. They kind of left Thor as Fat Thor, like Bro Thor and New Master 69 Thor. Like they kept him playing Fortnite and drinking beer. I didn't see that coming. I think that was one of the disappointments in that movie that I really wish they would have fixed. I thought he would have been this big guy, and I think he should have taken back Asgard. I think he should have went back to Asgard, taken rule. He is now like this most, and Russo brother, they even said themselves that he's the most powerful by the end of the Endgame. So why hasn't he wanted to claim that like true king form? I think he should have gone back like that. and he should have got this clean cut look because it's totally believable. If you snap the fat off of Thor, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he got lightning through his ball sack and he lost a lot of weight thanks to his testosterone in his biceps. He's literally the hobo, like, I will suck your boobs for beer. And he doesn't talk like that, but I'm just saying they left him as this hobo hippie from Asgard. And his little town, like, what the heck? And he gave his throne over to some chick. Like, I'm like, dude, it's not some chick, but in perspective, dude, you're king. Like, you can't just be like, hey, you be queen. I don't really feel like king anymore. I want to go drink some booze and go, like, lead Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, you just don't do that as Guardians. You go back and take your rightful place. Like, I think they left him in a hobo hippie that travels for beer, and I think they should have gone with, like, a clean-up Thor. That's one take I have off of Endgame. Second point on Thor, he should have another way to reprise his look as, like, Thor, and it could have been cool. Like, he's going back to the like when he went back in time and when he saw his mother, he could have trimmed up. He could have looked back to how he was when he was in his first appearance, really, like long hair, Goldilocks looking type dude. And that's how he could have met his mother. And he could have, instead of his mother being like, oh, I know you're from the future, he could have been like, walk in as Thor and kind of tricked her. And that's how he got his look back, because he had to go back in time and change all that up. And then he could have cleaned up and stuff like that. And that could have been a nice reason they could have, like, throw us a nicer looking Thor. That kind of just like another hippie Thor. And also, there's another thing about Thanos. Some people, I think a lot of people, don't actually know. Thanos was actually, dude, bro, strong. Like, over level 9,000 strong in Endgame. He was super duper strong. And how was he so strong in Endgame and he was so weak in Infinity War? Like, he got his ass handed to him by Spider-Man and a couple of dudes in a suit. And in the Endgame, he was whipping ass. He was taking Thor's shit. He was breaking Captain America's shield. And that, to answer your question, is the gamma radiation coming off of the stones. The more you use them, the more you get weaker. It's kind of like radiation. And as cancer works on you, cancer basically kills your ass, and it just basically makes you weak. So in Infinity War, he was using Infinity Stones like crazy. He was using it to fend him off against Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Quill, or Star-Lord, and Spider-Man, and so forth, so on. And in Endgame, he picked up freaking Thor and smashed. He was whooping ass. He put, in the beginning of, I think it was Infinity War, he took Bruce Banner's ass out of Hulk. He was so strong. And then at the end, like in Infinity War. So that's kind of a good take. I think that's the definite reason as to why these stones are weakening him in the end of Infinity War. And in Endgame, he was able to smash Captain America's American ass. Or his shield. So that kind of explains that. I was kind of questionable on that, and I was wondering, like, how is this happening? But that's mainly reason why, as to why Thanos was able to whip everybody's ass. And another thing, couldn't, like, Ant-Man, like, at the very beginning of the battle, supersize me and, like, grow super large and just walk over and squish Thanos? Like, why wasn't that? Was I missing something? I think he could have squished. He totally could have squished Thanos. He could have just walked over and go. Or did I miss something? I don't know. But I think he could have just squished him instead of crawling up his ass and expanding or whatever other ideas you were thinking about. And also, one of the I'm going over a lot of negatives because the movie, I'll end it with some positives. The movie was good, so I have to point out my negatives. And I feel like they could have fixed Thor's real death scene. Not the one in the beginning where he gets his head chopped off, the correct way. And I think they could have done it again, as in Thor completing his journey with fulfillment this time, rather than half-assing it and just chopping his head off because he missed last time. Now he could have done it with some oomph, as to when Iron Man snapped and everybody turned to dust, and just before Thanos, like, disappears without feeling or any pain, Thor rushes over and chops his head off. one more good old time. But it's Disney, and we're not going to get that. But I feel like it would have been a proper justification for his death and a good Mad Titan chopping of the head. Just a nice guillotine. Sing! And right before his head hits the ground, it turns to dust. Now, I think that would have been great, because you don't have to deal with the blood, Disney. You just have to deal with the decapitation, which you ever so hate, because that's just not what we're going to get. And it's Disney. Now, on to the good stuff. I think that Black Widow's sacrifice and with Hawkeye for the Soul Stone was one of the best parts in that movie. Yes, we have the battle scene, which was epic, and everybody over so much do love. But man, that sacrifice that Black Widow did, to me, was outrageously nice. It was amazing. I loved the sacrifice because it was so dramatic. It was well written. And, like, they're jumping off a cliff. Like, how much more dramatic do you gotta get? But they really, really did well as to making it so sad. And they make you want to cry multiple times in the movie, which is executing it perfectly. Infinity War, like I said, is so different. It's so different. You don't want to cry, but shit's happening. In Endgame, things are barely happening. Like, they're running off a cliff. Like, they're running off a cliff. Okay, cool. No, you're about to cry as they run off a cliff. And the way Hawkeye stops her and, like, trips her and delays her and puts a burden on her and do all that kind of stuff and tries no matter what, and Black Widow just wins anyway, wins kind of quote unquote, and the way it all happened, and she was like, it's gonna be okay, and all that kind of stuff, it was just so dramatic. And to me, they executed that scene magnificently. 100% pass on that. I mean, not pass, I mean buy on that one. I just love that. I just love that scene. Now, when she dies, obviously, they're like, I wish Black Widow would have known, like, we won. And then Bruce Banner and the other chick, or somebody was like, oh, trust me, she knows. Because I think they were supposed to leave it in, and when they took it out, the scene was, when Bruce Banner snaps, he goes into Soul World, or Soul Land, or something like that. And just like Thanos went and saw his daughter when he first got her, or something like that, and Hulk, he saw Black Widow, and Black Widow, he was trying to tell her, you know what, you can come back, like, let's go back. And he said he was trying so hard. Remember in the movie, he said he was trying so hard to bring her back, but she told him, there's no going back. The Soul Stone takes you. Like, once you're gone for good. Like, you're not going back in time, and you're not getting yourself back. Like, there's no way out of it. But she said it was okay. And basically, see you on the other side type story. And he came back, and that was that part. But Hulk snapping, that was a cool scene as well. As far as Hulk goes, I think they made him a little bit too much of a sweet guy. A little bit too much of a publicity type person. Like, snapshot with me and blah, blah, blah. Like, you think it was a bit too cocky. He went from, like, broad, brainy type guy to, like, this cocky attitude, like he plays high school football or something. I don't know what they did with him. It was okay, kind of, not really. Now, Iron Man's death. Iron Man's death was... They did credit him. They did give him the honorable death, and I like that. It was nice to see. But it was sad. It was sad to see Mr. 3, I Love You 3000. I was wondering, like, what is 3000? I thought it was some type of... I thought that was his rescue, his wife coming down to rescue him, and her suit was 3000. Like, there was a suit 3000 or something. But I Love You 3000 is like, I love you bunches. I love you 3000. It was kind of like that, which was kind of cool. And it made it for such a sad and heartwarming type of ending. But it's just kind of cool how he died, because he kind of died in so much honor. Like, he risked his life. And another thing, in case you didn't know, how he got the Infinity Stones off of Thanos' gauntlet so fast. So fast. Nobody could get it off of that gauntlet that fast. Like, nobody. That was insane. Nanotechnology. The nanotechnology in Iron Man's suit was able to pull the stones right off of his gauntlet onto Tony Stark's nano gauntlet. So for that's how Iron Man got the stone so fast. And the snap and the way he died and the tragic way the film cinematography was and all that stuff, it was epic. I loved it. Every bit of it. His death, watching him go was sad. Peter Parker, when he showed, Peter Parker or Tom Holland, my God, he's a good actor. I didn't like him in Homecoming as much, but Infinity War and Endgame, he performed. Now, I haven't seen Far From Home. That's probably one I'm going to see in like 5 more months. I think all in all, that's all I'm going to say for it. I don't have much else I have to do a little breakdown or say much on. I really did enjoy the whole movie as a whole. It wasn't like The Last Jedi, like some parts were good, like the throne room scene was good, but the rest of the movie is trash. But the throne room scene was trash, but it was good. It wasn't like that. It was like the whole movie was just this mellow, like you're really high. I've never been high. But you're really high, you're smoking, and you're just like, what? And you start crying. And that was the Endgame movie for me. And whereas Infinity War was this mosh pit of a movie where everybody was dying and fighting and killing, and it was just like, people are dying, but man, it's cool. But Endgame was not like that. Endgame was very sweet and poetic. It was more of a poetic type movie. It was sympathetic and nice and sad. It was bittersweet, and I love how Thanos brought that to my head. He said something about he snapped half of the population, and half the population disappeared. And when half of them disappeared, they could still be remembered. And if you can still be remembered, you will never be forgotten. Whereas if he snapped the whole population and created new ones, they would thrive and enjoy their new life. Think about it. Other countries being wiped out right off the history books, and Thanos brought that to my head. I was just like, I love the many things that they teach you. That's how, like, per se, for example, I'm not a fan, I'm just saying, Adolf Hitler tried to erase some races off the face of the planet. So history books will not remember them. And if we don't remember them, we don't know of them, so we can't sympathize about them, and we can't help or learn. So Thanos was Nazi purple dude. But he was just the things they bring in these movies. It's very poetic. And little cameos, Stan Lee, rest in peace that dude, stuff like that. And like the book he was reading, it said it was a book novel and it was an Endgame novel, and it was referencing back to this. And there's so many things in these movies that you miss. Yes, they CGI the crap out of these movies, but they really pay attention to detail in these movies, and they pay a tribute to Star Wars films, Empire Strikes Back, specifically with hands getting cut off in the Avengers. Groot getting his hand cut off, Thor Loki making Thor think his hand got cut off. There's like Bucky's hand being cut off. The guy should play a Luke Skywalker, I feel, but stuff like that. But I just want to say the movie was good, and this is my thoughts on Endgame. And I hope you enjoyed what you saw here. Hope you liked it. First time ever doing this kind of video. It's very different for me to formally talk to you like, hey baby, what do you want to do tonight? I want to do it to you and your toes. So it's a lot different. So push the like button down below. Big Bad Toy Store link down below if you want to help me there. Speaking of figures, I want to pick up now is America's Ass Endgame Captain America, the Mark 7, I believe, from the Avengers first film, diecast figure still on pre-order Endgame, and the 1/4 scale Infinity Nano Gauntlet. I had to have one of those. The Nano Gauntlet. It's only like $119. It'll be pretty cool to display a Nano Gauntlet next to Iron Man as he's snapping his fingers. I think that's just a beautiful pose setup thing. So thank you for watching Easy Company Collectibles. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you like what you saw, of course, comment down below. Like, agree to disagree down below. Don't be rude. And remember, guys, history teaches us a lesson for a reason. Use it.